Every marriage has 3 rings. The engagement ring, the wedding ring, and the bicker ring. We're here to settle the fights that don't matter and have no winner. It's the 3 Rings Podcast with another new argument.
Welcome to the 3 Rings Podcast. I'm Lauren.
And I am Phil.
And we are...
married.
Yeah.
You did it.
I did it.
You did
Yay!
it. See, it's really not that difficult to do the intro.
I don't know. It didn't feel great.
You don't have to do it for the future if you don't want to.
I proved to myself that I can do it, so now I'm fine. We can move on.
You've accomplished that, so well done there.
Thank you. I'm proud of myself. This is a big day for me.
It is indeed. Well, again, welcome to another weekly episode of the 3 Rings Podcast, and we're going to be talking more music this week.
Yep.
And before we get into today's topic of what is the best Justin Timberlake song, which I'm very passionate about.
Yeah.
I'm way more passionate about it than you are, I think.
Yeah, we've been putting off this one for a little while, I think, just because I've been so,
Yeah, this is more in my wheelhouse.
But I'll fight about it if you want to.
I mean, we're definitely going to. But
okay.
Before we dive into all of that, and we'll give people the opportunity to remember all of the various hits that Justin Timberlake has, so they can contribute to the argument as well on social media at 3 Rings Pod, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us on all of those.
You can.
So, yeah, make sure to follow along and just participate is really what we're looking for out of all of this. But before we get into it, it's been quite the time here in Louisville. Quite
the time.
Yeah. I think since the last time that we recorded, protests,
still happening.
Yeah, I think.
As they should be.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think we it had just started the last time we actually recorded here in the studio. So it has since kind of died down a little bit as far as the intensity. But yeah, it's okay in downtown again.
There's still stuff that needs to happen for sure.
Yes. 100%. It's by no means over, but
no.
There aren't, multiple streets with broken windows and glass everywhere,
right?
And all of that. So
yeah,
that's a little bit better. So,
yeah,
so we've made it through that. Pandemic's still going on.
I don't foresee a time when it won't be from here until we get a vaccine, whenever that might be.
Yeah, so that's been pretty crazy. And
let's talk about what is something that is good that's happened. Something good.
There's really not a whole lot of good that's happened. There's more so just not terrible.
That I'm trying to downplay the seriousness of all that's been going on.
Well, I've had multiple conversations about that, mainly with coworkers. So when I talk with Ben and Kelly with DJX, a big part of their morning show is their feel-good stories that they do. And they do feel-good stories every hour. Oh. So, just talking with them, it's sometimes it's really a struggle right now to find feel-good stories to share with people.
Right, yeah. I can imagine.
It's very difficult.
Especially since, I think that most news, outlets kind of focus on the bad because it draws more people in for whatever reason. We are kind of as humans attracted to bad news.
Yeah.
But so, with so many big things happening, big bad things happening.
Yeah.
Big necessary things happening.
Yeah.
It's hard to find room for those smaller feel good stories, but Leia's still adorable.
She is. But even when you look at some of the things that you can perceive as being positive about all of it, different unity among communities, anything like that.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have to take the bad with the good. So you see while this is happening, you see way more people stepping up as being oh, those are your true colors type of people.
Well, I think unfortunately, I think one of the downsides to the whole news thing is though that we probably have more of the good stuff going on than the bad, but because the bad stuff is what draws people in, that's what gets to the front page.
Yeah.
And when you are just repeatedly seeing that instead of the numerous good stories, like you could have 5 really great stories about really good things, really like awesome progressive things happening, but one bad story about someone doing something that they shouldn't have been. Yep. And that's what they're going to focus on. It's just like, it's like revisionist history almost.
Yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah, but there's plenty of good that's happening, but a lot of like hard but necessary things happening right now, and that's good. But we got to kind of like day by day. You can't focus on those like crazy negative stories, or you're gonna lose your mind at some point. So
yeah,
you just gotta take the small things where you can.
Yep,
Leia's cute. We're here.
Yep.
We had some good Mexican food today.
Had an awesome burrito, but also it rained like crazy, and like my allergies are not.
Yeah,
having
if we
it, so
sound stuffy, then that's why. But
if you hear me sniffling, like I'm doing my best. I'm sorry. I'm trying really hard.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Yeah,
You're doing good.
Yeah, but so I think with the lack of feel good stories and positivity, I think that people can come to us and get some of that positivity.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though we are going to be arguing, I think it's a fun topic that we're arguing.
It's all in good fun. I think it's all like we're at the end of the day, this is a humor podcast more than anything else. So like if we
it's funny to us.
Yeah, if we can't make at the very least it's funny to us. But if we can't make you laugh, then what are we doing?
Wasting our time.
Hopefully you get that. Hopefully maybe you feel a little bit stronger about Justin Timberlake than I do.
Yeah, maybe you're in the same boat as me, which is actually hilarious because, like, looking at my sheet, you have way more planned for this than I do.
I wouldn't go that far. I copied and pasted a lot of stuff in here because I know that if I'm, like, talking about music stuff, then I have to, like, come more prepared than you do. You gotta come with facts. Yeah, like, I have to... Prepared. But, two, I guess, like, funny enough, you were definitely more of a boy band person than I was back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
You were...
No shame.
You were more of a Backstreet Boys person than an NSYNC person, but...
Yes.
While you were, like, jamming to the boy bands, I was hardcore into Spice Girls. I did not have time for Backstreet Boys or NSYNC in my life.
Yeah.
Or Britney Spears at that time, or Christina Aguilera. I was like fully invested.
Spice up your life.
Spicing up my life.
Yeah.
I was like, the Spice World universe was enough for me.
Okay. Well, I will state that I was very pro Backstreet Boys and still am to this day. But when you want to get into the boy band conversation, like JT. Yeah, like
he's kind of the king.
Like he kind of tops all of it. Like,
right? Yeah.
Like I'd rather have JT over the Backstreet Boys, but like everybody else in NSYNC, you weren't really needed.
Who else in like name JC?
There's Joey Fatone.
What was his last name?
Fatone.
Shazay? No, not Joey Fatone. JC Shazay. Lance Bass. I guess he's still kind of around.
Is he?
Yeah, he pops up in the tabloids every so often.
For what?
I don't know.
The list of who cares?
Sure. I don't know. But,
he's doing fuck all.
The Carters, I guess, were like the standout Backstreet Boy. Just the one Carter, the Backstreet Boys, but Aaron Carter kind of like...
yeah. I mean...
I don't know.
As a group, they were way better. But when you talk about NSYNC, it was Justin Timberlake and
so were
everybody
you
else.
into Spice Girls at all, or was it too like girly for you?
It was way too girly for me.
Oh, I had T-shirts, posters, Barbies,
it makes sense
lollipops.
Because you're a girl.
Like, yeah, I had like, you know what really bugs me is you can't find Spice World anywhere on like any streaming service.
I'm sorry.
I want to go back and watch it so bad.
Dear God, I hope it never shows up. I'm not gonna put up with that.
I'd watch it every day.
That's why I don't want it to fucking show up. But let's dive into this. We're gonna be talking about the best Justin Timberlake song. And
I want to go first just because
go
I
first?
want to get this over with.
Okay.
I want to.
Jesus, okay.
No, because I
We're
feel
very
like
dedicated to doing this podcast.
No, not that I want to get the podcast over with. I want to get my points over with because I don't feel confident about my stance this week.
All right.
Okay, so I chose What Goes Around Comes Around, which was released in December 2006. I chose it because it was commercially successful.
Okay.
It came off of Future Sex Love Sounds, which was iconic and a standout for Justin Timberlake.
I won't disagree.
And it was career defining for him. Those are my 3 points.
Career defining.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Okay, so What Goes Around Comes Around was one very commercially successful in the United States. It debuted at 64 on the Billboard Hot 100. And it propelled to number 1 in February. It became Timberlake's 3rd consecutive number 1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 from the Future Sex Love Sounds album, which made him the first male artist since Usher in 2004 to have 3 or more consecutive number 1 hits from one album. It charted on the Hot 100 for 25 weeks, was certified platinum, and the album that it was from made its way onto a number of best of lists. So it was extremely successful for him.
Sure. What hasn't been, though?
What?
What hasn't been, though?
Oh, what was that last album that he released? Man in the Woods or whatever?
Yeah.
Nobody cared about that.
Yeah,
remember that music video that he did with, like, the robot, too?
All right. Before you do anything with that, like, that was actually a good song.
Yeah, but nobody gave a shit about it.
Which blew my mind because it was actually a really good song.
It was fine. I couldn't sing it now. Like, it's not like it didn't stick in my head, like, literally at all.
That was Filthy?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I
Your
couldn't.
filthy hands all over me.
Okay, so Phil can sing it.
I remember it. I thought it was a great song. The video was pretty.
The video was cool. The video was cool, but like nobody was like, oh yeah, that one. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the song of the summer or whatever the case may be.
No,
he wasn't like. You didn't hear it all over or whatever. Like it just wasn't. It's not a standout. So you can't say that every song that he's done has been.
But I mean,
we wouldn't be sitting here if every song was worthy of like all the accolades. But this one got a ton.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. Future Sex Love Sounds was iconic and a standout for him. Like I said, the album earned its place on numerous best of lists in 2006 and the following years. Music. Oh, why? That's such a dumb way to. It's just like the way that they reference Rolling Stone. Yeah. Rolling Stone listed Future Sex Love Sounds as their 26th among 2006 top 50 albums of the year. And The Observer made it number 47 on the publication's best 50 albums of 2006. And it's in Time magazine, the album is ranked 8th among its list of top 10 best albums of 2006. They said that Timberlake levitates into falsetto that honors Prince and Michael Jackson without stealing from them on that album.
Okay.
It's a great album.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree that it's a great album. I mean, it is a very good album. It's not the best.
What's the best?
Well, I mean, I'll get to my point. Do you want to wrap yours up, or do you want me to just chime in here?
No, I'll wrap it up. Okay. So again, it was career defining for him. The success of Future Sex Love Sounds affected both Timberlake's and Timbaland's careers. For Timberlake, it further established his career as a solo artist. Even he said Sexy Back was the point when people stopped asking him when NSYNC was going to get back together.
Yes.
So, I mean, he said it kind of beefed up, this song in particular, beefed up his, like, quote-unquote hipster fan base, too. It made him, like, more widely popular, even outside of the people who were just following him, like, for being in a boy band.
Yeah.
So this, I mean, like, it gained him, like, a more diverse audience, opened him up to more people.
Yeah.
Plus, the song's just damn good. Like, that, like...
It is, but, I mean, even off of the Future Sex Love Sounds album, I wouldn't even argue that What Goes Around Comes Around is the best song on that album.
How? I mean,
I would
okay, like,
100%
Sexy Back is
yes,
good.
I would 100% argue
but,
that
like,
Sexy
as
Back
far
is
as,
better.
like, lyrically, What Goes
Lyrically,
Around Comes Around is top fucking notch for him.
I have nothing against the song at all. I love the song, but I don't
that
think...
like switch at the end where it like completely transitions into like that kind of like slow jam at the end. Like,
yeah,
come on.
I mean, it's a good song.
Flawless.
It's not even the best song on that album, let
Plus,
alone
like
his best song.
the music video. Remember how
music video was
Scarlett
great.
Johansson was in the music video?
I do.
So good.
I mean, again,
Iconic.
can't keep saying iconic about this.
It was.
Again,
it was
like,
so good.
It is not even better than Sexy Back off of that album.
Okay, Sexy Back. Okay. Okay. Sexy Back is fun.
Yeah.
What Goes Around Comes Around is like quality songwriting.
Okay.
He like lyrically it's great, musically it's great, the production is great. Sexy Back is like fine, it's like fun to like dance to and like, you know, whatever. But like it's not like I don't really think it was that different than stuff you've heard before. What Goes Around Comes Around was very different.
Yeah.
And it like the way it kind of melded like pop music and like R&B was fantastic. It like just overall a fantastic song.
I won't disagree that it's
Plus
a
like the
fantastic song,
backstory too about it being about Britney Spears. Like how do you not like how is that not like come on.
but- Okay. You've made
What's
your
Sexy Back about?
bringing Sexy back,
Okay.
which she fucking did. So you want to talk about that? Like, come on.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not even arguing for Sexy Back being the best Justin Timberlake song.
I guess yeah, what's yours?
Mine takes it back to the beginning.
Jesus.
Off of Justified, I think the best Justin Timberlake song of all time is Rock Your Body.
But okay, that album though, like I can name 2 songs off that album.
That's it?
Rock Your Body and Señorita are the only songs I know off of that album.
How about Cry Me a River?
Okay, all right, I know that one.
Which, let me see. So you made that point about Timbaland. Oh yeah, Timbaland produced that one, didn't he?
Which one?
Cry Me a River.
Yeah, because like What Goes Around Comes Around was like the part 2 of that song, but like.
But he produced for the first album. But your point was that it really propelled his career.
Future Sex Love Sounds had like hit after hit after hit after hit. Like it was like nonstop.
Same with Justified.
Not as many.
It was a fantastic album.
Okay.
I'm going to take over here because
Okay.
I think, Rock Your Body is the best Justin Timberlake song. Point number 1, debut solo album. Tons of pressure when it comes to being a solo artist as opposed to being a boy band. So, a lot of pressure for a debut album. It's the most successful song on the album, by the way, point number 2. And point number 3, the success from that first album is what pushed his career in a completely new direction. So, point number 1, debut solo album, breaks away from NSYNC. This is his time to shine. And when you think about his departure from NSYNC, who was wildly successful, there's not a lot to, what's the best way that I want to phrase this? Stepping out on your own and not having anybody else to have your back or to help shoulder any burden that might come from a album that might not work. When you go out on your own with a high expectation and you deliver an album like Justified, that's pretty fucking impressive.
The fact that he named it Justified.
Well, I mean, it's not the worst name for an album. His name's
when
Justin.
When your name is Justin, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it could have been better, but Future Sex Love Sounds?
At least it's different.
Okay.
I couldn't even remember I could not remember the name of that debut album. I remember Future Sex Love Sounds.
Okay. Well, it was, again, back to his departure.
But like, okay, so
Okay, maybe not. All right.
he has a great voice. He's a very talented guy.
Yes.
He just got out of NSYNC.
Yeah.
You think that his label was going to hook him up with bad producers? Like, of course that album was going to be successful in some way. Future Sex Love Sounds was, like, next level, like, successful.
Think of any of the boy bands, how many of them had fantastic debut albums going solo.
Who sang as well as Justin Timberlake?
But that's kind of the point. So it doesn't really matter who the producer. You could have had any of those members. You could have had Joey Fatone working with all the same producers. Was it going to do as well?
No,
the
because
talent
it's
is
just
the
the
talent.
Timberlake. Yeah,
The
but
talent
like
is the talent.
But so just because it was like good for a debut album though doesn't mean it's that great.
But it was good for his debut album because it was a departure from the boy band bubblegum pop. Like, you get R&B out of this album. Like, this particular song with Rock Your Body is very much a pop song.
Yeah.
But think of it this way. The song was originally written for Michael Jackson.
Okay.
So
all right.
So that
okay.
When you're going down that route, when you're going and talking about greatness, like, that kind of says stuff in its own. But when you think of some of the other songs that are on there, like Cry Me a River and Senorita, that were a little like, they were more softer, they were more ballad like.
I still think Senorita is like a straightforward pop song.
But it's not as like high tempo, like energetic.
Yeah, okay.
But it is still a pop song.
Okay.
I mean, like right now, like Louis Capaldi, those are pop songs. Those
right,
are slow.
yeah,
Like,
right.
You can still have that. Even Cry Me a River is a pop song, but
right.
it's, ballad type deal. So, it's one of these standout songs on the album, and it stands out so much because it's one of the most commercially successful songs on the album. It's more successful than Cry Me a River, actually. Rock Your Body sold way more copies, about 2 million copies, and Cry Me a River sold about 800,000. So, the most successful song on the album. And when Justin Timberlake has played the Super Bowl, he's picked Rock Your Body for both times that he played in the Super Bowl. He performed that song both times that he did it. And
that's pretty good.
That was I forget which year was the first year that he did it, but 2018 was the second time. But in the first Super Bowl that he did it, when he was performing the song, that was the Janet Jackson Nipplegate.
No.
So that's the song that he was playing for that, which could have contributed to some of the success.
Yeah, but
again, that was just it. Yeah, that was kind of the point of how successful it was, and then Timbaland was there for that too, and kind of segued into everything else, so there wasn't a second Nipplegate at the Super Bowl. But yeah, so most successful song on the album, and my final point for why Rock Your Body is the best Justin Timberlake song. Again, the success of the album is what pushed him in a new direction. So, while the entire album as a whole, and not just the song, was successful, the career path that he was taking could have had a very significant and dramatic turn had this album not worked and had Rock Your Body not been a very successful
Was Rock
single.
Your Body the first single off of that album, or was
I can't remember. I think Senorita was actually the first single.
Interesting.
And then I think Rock Your Body, and then I think Cry Me a River. But I could be wrong. Those were the main 3 singles from the album, but I think it was Senorita was first.
I don't like Senorita.
How can you not like Senorita?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a great song.
It doesn't do anything for me.
And plus, this entire album, I mean, like, this was like Neptune's, like, right when they were getting to their peak. Like, Pharrell was knocking out hit after hit after hit.
I'm not saying it was not a good album.
And features on Senorita, by the way.
Who? Future?
Pharrell.
Oh, is he?
He features on Senorita, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. But I'm not saying it's a good album. It's not Future Sex Love Sounds, though.
But you have to think of, like, how his entire career changed because of this album. had it not worked, had the album not been well received, had the songs not been well received,
But
we could
he
be seeing
had-
NSYNC doing tours like Backstreet Boys is doing right now.
But he had everything on his side.
But again, anybody could have. Anybody in those bands could have.
I would argue
anybody
that-
in Backstreet Boys
I
could
would
have done
argue
the same
that
thing.
the other members of those two boy bands were not as talented as he was.
Yes, I agree.
So when you have that and you're hooked up with all the right people, of course your debut album is going to be at least somewhat of a success.
Somewhat, but if it's not a huge success, then that could push you to say, maybe we should do the NSYNC thing more or get the band back together because there's more to gain from something like that as opposed to continuing and going solo. And that success is what pushed him to Future Sex Love Sounds with more of an R&B feel and working with people that he really wanted to work with, i.e. Timberland. So Timberland produced so much of that second album, but he was only partially involved in the first album. So
I think the Rocky Body's fine. I don't think it's great.
no, it is great, but again, like we could be seeing NSYNC doing tours right now, like Backstreet Boys.
Do you think that do you think NSYNC will ever do?
No,
like
because he doesn't. Justin Timberlake doesn't need to.
But still, like even Destiny's Child got back together for a song or two at Coachella when Beyonce was headlining.
Maybe, like you could see it, but this song.
I'm not saying they have to like tour.
Yeah, but this song in particular and this album in particular, it showed what he can do by himself. It showed that he was the best singer. Did he
write at all on that one? Oh, he did?
He did. So it showed that he could sing. It showed that he could write. It showed that he could perform solo. And also showed that, he could go down a similar path like a Michael Jackson where you have pop, you have R&B, you have the total package as a solo artist as opposed to being in a group. And you can do it by yourself. And that's what pushed him towards doing what he wanted to do as an artist with Future Sex Love Sounds, being more R&B driven, which all of his albums since then have been more in that realm. So without this song, without this album, without its popularity and its success, we wouldn't have Justin Timberlake as we know him right now. We could be seeing, JT as part of NSYNC again. You wouldn't have your favorite Justin Timberlake song if it wasn't for songs like Rock Your Body, which was the best song on the album and why I say it's the best Justin Timberlake song of all time.
Spice Girls Forever.
No. That's not even part of the conversation. We don't even need them.
It's always a part of the
conversation. It's never part of the conversation.
It's always a part of the conversation.
They are... No. They're awful.
Bring them back.
No. The best part about the Spice Girls is David Beckham.
What? No.
Yeah.
No way.
100%.
Get out of here.
As a man, when it comes to the Spice Girls, only thing I care about is that David Beckham
is a man.
And he didn't even need her.
Whatever.
He's doing
Spice
fine
Girls
before.
Forever. Spice up your life.
Stop it. Don't need that. Don't need that.
If you want to be my husband, you got to get with the Spice Girls.
Oh, shut the fuck up. We're done. We're done.
Tell us what you think. What is the best Justin Timberlake song? You can let us know on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at 3 Rings Pod. That's THREE Rings Pod. Please go on to Apple Podcasts, rate and review us, share us with your friends. You can listen to us wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
That's right.
We will see you next week. I think next week's going to be kind of a goofy one.
Yeah, I think so. We have a lot of just strange
random
topics.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so kind of rapid fire, but we're not really sure if they're going to be longer.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. We're kind of winging it as we go.
Yeah.
It'll be a new one for us.
Yeah. Next week, we're just making it up on the spot. See what happens.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Thanks for listening to another weekly episode of the 3 Rings Podcast. We'll be back next week with another new argument. In the meantime, follow us on all social media platforms at 3 Rings Pod. Join in the argument and tell us who's right, who's wrong, or why you have the right answer. Whatever. Just tell us stuff.